After returning from a shoot, you're excited to look at your photos and begin the editing process. Expression Media offers several different methods of editing your photos. In this tutorial, I'll show you a few of the ways I like to use to edit my photos and find the very best ones, and give you some tips on editing that even the most experienced iView Media Pro, and now Expression Media users, don't yet know. So to get started, I'm going to navigate to my Pictures folder, double-click on my Colorado folder, and I have a shoot in here that I took at the Ouray Ice Park in Ouray, Colorado. I'm going to create an Expression Media catalog from that by right-clicking or control-clicking on the Macintosh and selecting Expression Media Import. So I've got a whole series of photos here, and I want to go through and from the series I want to find the very best frames. Now, Expression Media offers several different methods for organizing your shoot. You can look at the photos in a list view, which gives you a textual rendition of your photos. The thumbnail, which is the default, and that's what we're familiar at looking to photos in. And the media pane, which generates higher resolution thumbnails and allows you to look at the detail. Certainly, many users will want to do their initial edit just in the media window by pressing the right and left arrows to advance forward and backward. Now, as you're navigating, you'll often want to begin adding a series of ranking elements to it. To do that, you can come to the Info or Organize menu. Info will give you more information about the file. It shows the file type, the encoding, whether it's a RAW or a JPEG, the file size on disk, the image dimensions, and some of the other information, for example, that was shot at the aperture of f10 at 1/800th of a second. Even the white balance of cloudy. So what I want to do now instead is to come over to the Organize menu, and the Organize menu shows you the folders that are currently being viewed, and it will also give you access to the labels and to the rating. Now, the labels and rating are two ways that you can begin sorting your photos, and there are as many different ways of using these as there are photographers, but what I'll do is I'll show you a way that's worked really well for me. The first thing that I do when I go through is I will double-click on the photo and it will open in the media window. And I just quickly scroll through using the arrow key. And when I find a photograph that's interesting, for these, for example, I'm going to rotate it. And when I find a photograph that's kind of interesting, I'll press the 1 key on my keyboard, and you can see that I've applied a red label to that. It appears down here in the file name, and also denotes a 1 up in this window. So I'm going to keep going through, and that one's kind of interesting. I'll give that one a 1. And let's scroll through some more. And that one's good. I'm going to rotate that one and give that one a 1. As is that one. I'll rotate that one, give it a 1. And to save a little time, I'm just going to batch rotate all of these by clicking once, shift-clicking, and clicking on the rotate. Scroll down in my catalog. There's another one there. Another 5. Rotate those. And that should take care of those. So we'll get back here and jump into the media window. That one will deserve a 1. That one's pretty good, although it's kind of hard to tell what he's climbing on. So I'll continue through here and give some of these just an initial rating system. That one's kind of interesting. And as you can see, I just go through these really quickly. I'm just looking for the ones that grab my attention and just look like they might be something that's worth looking at again. So I'll give those 1s. And you can see out of that batch of 34, I generated 13 that are worth going back to and reconsidering. Now, in order to do that, what I can do is I can click on this small white circle next to the number 13. What that will do is it will show me all of the photos that have the red label applied to it. And what it does is it hides the other unlabeled images. So now I can go back through a second time, and I'm really wanting to find the best images. Now, instead of going back through each one with you again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find 2 that are fairly similar, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open them in the lightbox view. And that is found up here in the icons here, the light table. And I'll click on that. That will open up. And I have my icons here. By clicking on it, it will disappear. And so now what I can do is I can go in, and by pressing M will give me my magnifier. And I can see that this one is good and sharp. I can click to the next frame. I can also see that this one is good and sharp. And by pressing Control plus, this will come up, and you're losing a little bit on the right side, but normally the window automatically fits to the screen. So on your computer, when you're doing this, you won't lose the right side of your frame. But here, I can go in and look at the eyes here, I can look at the eyes here, and I can see that really there's a much better intensity in his gaze here, and the sharpness is better than it is over on this photograph. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this one, and I'm going to give it the label of green, which is going to indicate those are the very best images. So I'll press Escape to escape out of here, and you can see now that I have, from my red images, this one is labeled the green. Now you can also do exactly the same thing using the stars. So if I want to begin adding stars to photographs, I can just begin adding them down here. And it's adding those 5 stars to the 2 that are selected. And I'll go ahead and take away a couple stars from that one. So my number 2, this one's really the best shot of the bunch. So I'm going to keep that one labeled both as the green, but also as 5 stars. Really, it's about working with whatever best suits your workflow. Now, an important thing to understand, by default, these rankings, these labels, are applied only within the catalog. If you then move the catalog or move the files to another location or to a different catalog, it won't always travel with it unless you're moving them from within Expression Media. Something to be aware of whenever you're using the visual database. But those are a couple different ways of editing the images. I think once you begin to use the light table view that you'll find here, you'll find it to be so easy for finding that one photo that's really sharp, certainly much easier than just going through any of the other systems or having to open the images individually to get a good look at focus.